So thank you for being with us, Mr. Kofi. America and Europe were the ultimate destination, right?
Mhm.
We all heard of the American dream, but today things are really shifting, right?
Thing is, they do not have choice. We have to adapt. That is the reality. And in my writing, I think you need to think about it as a scaffolding. We have the capacities and the resources to find alternatives. I'm staying relatively positive on that side.
Mhm.
Well, the diaspora has a role to play as economic actors, but uh,
Yeah.
right now they can't. Right, there is not the human infrastructure. Is it easy? All the paperwork needed to do business, and that is the administrative burden. There is a big difference between
Mhm.
Anglophone and Francophone Africa in that. On the ground, there is not the infrastructure to support your business. Not that you
Mhm.
cannot do, but it's to be
Yeah.
hard. And we need to reach that level. It's easy if you have the funds, you come or you send your funds to your business partner and you know that it's secured. This is what tack, tack.
Mhm. Is at age of retirement, right? So it's a problem.
And yeah, I mean, it's not generally when you retire that you start a
That you're
business.
gonna start something, right?
No, that
Unless you
no.
you you want a new life, you're just hitting the the ground running, you
Yeah,
opening a brand new thing and a risk, and it's best to test market when you are younger, right? Or
yeah.
know at least, especially if you are planning on going back home at some point, right?
Mm.
This is AfriPath Voices, the podcast that demystifies doing business in Africa. I'm your host, Linda Ann Numfor, Managing Director at AfriPath Consulting. Each month, we bring you real conversations with entrepreneurs from the US and Europe who are running successful businesses in Africa. Let's dive in.
Let's talk about academics in our countries. Here, it's academics play a very big role in setting up policies, at least writing and recommending policies to the government, whether they take it or not. That's another a whole new debate to have. But nevertheless, you have academia playing a role in the economy, right? How do you think you can contribute to not policy change, policy advisory?
Yeah,
I don't
capacity.
know, but capacity.
Honestly, I pretend that someone like me from abroad knows better than the people back home that have been absolutely not, because we
Mhm,
do have brains, we have good schools. Um,
mhm,
Depending on countries, and but some African universities are really good.
mhm,
uh I've talked to some academics from back home, and they are brilliant people like me. The thing is, when you are outside, you lose your place. you
mhm,
know you lose your place. So if you go home or work with people home, be humble. You have another perspective, right? Because we are
yeah,
influenced by our environments, right?
mhm,
So someone like me will have really, it's like I have a hybrid approach of things. I see from a Western point of view, but I also see from an African point of view, right? So I'm trying all the time to see what is good over there to bring down here, right? So maybe
mhm,
that aspect of things that I can bring. Someone like
mhm,
me, I can navigate both worlds easily. And maybe that is the comparative advantage that I have. But
yeah, mhm,
That is, and working in international development really taught me that you cannot go in those countries and thinking that because you have been educated from abroad, you may know better than the
Go
people.
better.
That is
Yeah.
the that is the recipe for disaster. So
Mm-hmm.
someone like me, yeah, I know, yeah, I'm smart, I'm not an idiot, yeah, but people at home also they are smart. It's just that we may
Yeah.
have different viewpoints or approaches on different aspects, and when we dialogue,
Mhm.
we can reach a better decision. That is really my approach.
And do you think that I mean, has it been examples of that collaboration? Because it's very important, yeah, to have these collaborations and to learn from outside. How do you achieve a leap in economies if you don't learn from outside, right? So
Yeah.
innovation, looking at how people have worked on their economy could really trigger some lessons learned from for African countries. So wondering if that's a collaboration that is happening right now or if it's something that is needed.
Well, it's been happening in many ways, but I like I said, I don't think that it happens at the scale at it should. You have a lot of educated Africans abroad, and I will talk about the Ivorian case. The thing is, to go back is not necessarily there because we are talking about economics. What is good for me? What do I get if I'm going? Because it's an investment. Think about that. If you go there, you're investing energy, you're investing your resources. So if what do I get in return? It's not just for
Mm.
the love of my country. We have
Yeah.
to be honest. It's what do I get in return? And that it means I'm looking at the politics, the social environment, the opportunities. Is there that's going to make me all the money or all the resources that I invested on my education abroad, if I'm just going there now, is there something that's going to have the dividends coming back?
In return.
It's
Yeah.
that.
Mm. Yeah.
You can, if you're an entrepreneur, we talked about that. We talked about the economic environment that need to be created, but you go with the risk of entrepreneur. If you are
Mm-hmm.
an academia, there's someone working in academia, you you would go. The thing is, let's say that I see academic as some kind of entrepreneur. Also, you go there, but is there enough? I would say opportunities for you to
Mm-hmm.
not only to be paid the same way that you would make here, because I'm sorry, you're not working for, for patriotism. I'm not going to. We all love our original country, but you
Yeah.
need to eat. You need to eat.
Yeah.
So, are you going to be paid, or you're going to have the same resources? And people there also in those same
Mm-hmm.
academic
Yeah.
environments, and people
Mm-hmm.
that need to be taken care of first. So, yeah. But I do think that there is room. For me, I always thought about that possibility of teaching at home
Mm-hmm.
in
Mm-hmm.
university or whether private or public, but doing those things one semester thing, not a whole thing. And
It
either,
also.
yeah, create, having those seminars where
Mm-hmm.
uh, you come, you teach for a short period of time, and you leave. That is an exchange. That is really an
Mm-hmm.
exchange of ideas, really an
Yeah.
exchange. That's something that can be done. Honestly, I haven't contacted any university yet
Mm-hmm.
because I mean, I looked. The recruitment process is complicated.
That that everything too complicated for
Right.
someone that is outside to put energy.
Yeah, as an economist, you think of what is the
Most
return.
of it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, what is the opportunity cost of doing that, right?
Yeah.
And when you do the equation, you say, well, if it goes on the negative, I'm going to wait on that. I
Yeah.
won't do it, but if I don't get something in return, why would I do that, right? But
Mhm.
yeah, I mean, I would go on some ministry website and I'm saying, okay, what kind of job do they have? Oh, they
Mhm.
do not post the jobs. They do not have a clear recruitment processes. That is an issue.
That's
You
an
know,
issue.
that is an
Yeah.
issue.
Yeah.
Um, the private sector does well on that, but the public sectors not so much. And I think
Mm.
that we need to catch up on that. But
Yeah.
some big companies, private companies, they do well on. The funny thing is that those big companies, most of them have um, a lot of the shareholders are foreigners. So if you, it says a lot, right?
Yeah. It says a
Because
lot who leads the economies,
yeah,
right? And that is about the future of our economies back home. Do we
yeah,
want to be on the sideline? Because if for real, the economy is thriving, the opportunities are there. I mean, the cities are growing. You look at the GDP, we are above average in general for all countries if you compare to the rest of the world.
mhm.
So you have signals of prosperity, economic prosperity in the long term, but are we going to take advantage of it, or are we going to just stay on the sideline? Because right now we are, the US has shifted so many of its policies. And like I was saying earlier, it will leave a void in not only foreign aid, but also just economies in general and activities. The private sector has their own way of navigating the
Mm.
priorities, the government priorities, but some opportunities will appear. When you talk about NGOs doing job, a simple example will be having this facilitative uh, roles that the NGOs, for example, were playing when it comes to training. Um, let's say, right,
Yeah, yeah,
on a few things. And yes, the government can take on some of these fundamental training, which they want because they never had the budget line for it. But you also have that as an opportunity, in my opinion, for a private low cost investment into the economy to get, let's say, a training center somewhere
yeah,
where you can have a little training center,
yeah,
participate. By that, you are also participating in the economy directly, actually, because you're going to be paying taxes for your business. And yes, you're contributing to the road to the economy in the country. Maybe not big, but something, right? You're
yeah.
starting somewhere. But now, we mentioned that the shift is happening, and the Chinese and the Russians and all of these other powerful countries are not sleeping.
Yeah.
So where do you see right now? How do you see the reaction to the economy, to the shift, the
Mhm.
American shift?
Well, I mean, it's a game of international relations.
Yeah. Mhm.
They love that. They love it.
Mhm.
Whether they fill the gap fully or not, that's the question. The US used to contribute to about 40% of the international development. The latest numbers is about 20, I believe, or 25. And it continues to go down. It's not
Now,
just US aid, it's the State Department, the Department of Agriculture, and it's linked national politics in the US. The other powers and that concept should be international aid, because international aid is not about helping. It's about projecting power. It was 0.05% of the budget.
Budget.
Peanut, really,
Hmm.
it's peanut. Arachide, come on, it's nothing.
It's
It's zero point,
nothing.
it's nothing. But if they decide, and even with that zero point 0.5, because the US has such a huge budget, it's billions, right?
Hmm.
But if they decide to withdraw, the consequences of withdrawing is that your image and your power, the projection of your power, will diminish. Your
Hmm.
footprint will diminish. The less people see you, the less people think about you. Other
Hmm.
power are seeing that. Even lately, even Japan has committed to increase its budget of international aid. Okay, the European Union says they will do that. Um, are they going to match globally what the US is going to leave? Not now. I don't think so.
Hmm.
But that is not, for me, fundamentally, that is not the point. For me, is that for African countries, what you gonna do now? I mean, it's what in political science we call a critical juncture. It's like
Hmm.
you are at a crossroad where things are fundamentally changing. What are you going to do to have a better control of your finances and not depending on international assistance to basically control part of your economy or subsidize
Hmm.
part of your economy? So it comes, I don't want to say we shouldn't care. We should care because there are consequences. But the fundamental thing is for African countries to say what we're gonna do. And I heard lately someone, the Patrice Talon, the president of Benin, was somewhat joking. It was like we should even thank, President Trump, because it's like, hey, wake up, what you gonna do?
Hmm.
It's a bad situation for African countries, but dude, it was coming one day or another. We knew that it would come at some point. So
Yeah.
what are we gonna do now? If you go back to the diaspora, I have if you want to build a training center to all that, it's about putting together resources. You, me, XYZ living abroad, alone we cannot do anything. But if there is a mechanism of putting money together, of raising money, and saying that this is this fund, putting money in. Even look, let's say there is a mechanism where we can send, I don't know, 1% of our monthly salary. The
Hmm.
mechanism where every month, without you thinking, 1% goes to that account that will be managed or controlled or supervised by the government or very state organization back home. And that money will be used for development project. This is a good thing. But it means
Yeah.
that there is an entity that is powerful and everybody trusts, and you can put your money there.
Yeah.
We cannot
So,
do anything by ourselves.
yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's very true. Yeah, especially if it comes to these big projects.
Mm.
Yeah, that's very
Because
true.
look, even to build roads and it's huge amount of money. One person cannot do. I mean, maybe Dangote can do that, but how many Dangote you have? But people like you and I, even small amount of money, it's about of the mutualization of funds.
Yes.
if if we do have an entity, or even if it, I trust the banking system. The problem with our banks, they don't loan money to the economy. They're mostly some, big, chest where you go and put money to be, but the system of credit is not as it should be to make the
Mhm.
economy kind of, flow easily.
Yeah.
All right. So if we do have that, an organization, a bank, or the government that can guarantee where you put your money, it would be great. There is the credit notation. I forgot the name of the guy, but there is an agency that give, credits of the economy, number of, the notation of the economy. But we still do not have, for instance, a personal credit system where you have your credit score, I have my credit score, and based on that, the bank can loan me money, right? That
Mhm.
those are credit, which means in Latin, trust. It is the
Mhm.
base of the economy, and it is the basis of growth. So we need really to develop that system of lending money easily, right?
Mhm.
And if that is done, the diaspora can send easily money. The money
Mhm.
can be used by the bank to kind of loan more money to produce
Mhm.
interest or to finance projects, this kind of stuff.
Mhm. That's true. And looking ahead in the 10 next years, how do you envision the landscape to be if we embrace all of the things that you are talking about so passionately?
Well, my thing is, how we going to, because like I said, and I do believe that we are at a crossroad, right? The
Mhm.
thing is, what is fundamentally at a crossroad, and how we can really change things is how we embrace tech, the technology, and the
Mhm.
AI revolution, right?
Mhm.
Because if we miss that train, we will be behind no matter what. The thing is, it's not necessarily roads are important, bridges are important, but at the end of the day, it's the human resources. How we can have an economy where we have, for instance, the call centers
Mhm.
of, I don't know, some kind. We speak French, we speak English, we speak a lot of languages. Why we do not have, for instance, big call centers, for instance, coming back home? What was the basis of development for, countries like India and over, Southeast Asian countries? It's the human capital. Is that where you have big economies basically delocalizing some part of their businesses? And that is in the human resources. If we invest in the digital revolution of our young people and, our student and back home, these kind of things, they can create personal businesses. Not They don't need big building for that, right? And that capacity of knowing and control, not controlling, but mastering the internet to some extent, and the digital tool will give us really a chance to be at the table. But if the gap between us and those who use uh, the new tool of production keep growing, we would still be behind. Yeah. We should move our economies from exports to an economy of production and, transformation. And I do feel like the mind is where the resources and the money is.
Thank you so much for being here and taking the time to answer my questions and being all, relaxed about it. Very passionate.
Oh,
So
thank you.
thank you so much. And I hope we will see you again in our on our platform.
Okay, thank you, Linda, for having me. And, anytime, just let me know. All right.
Thank you.
Bye
Bye-bye.
bye.
You've just listened to AfriPath Voices and heard what Africa has to offer. Book a consultation with AfriPath at afripathconsulting.com today to find out how to transform your little capital into a lucrative business in Africa. We'll help you turn your vision into a roadmap and business ownership in no time. New episodes drop once a month. In the meantime, subscribe, share, and mark your calendar. See you in the next episode, and until then, keep thriving and take care of yourself.